New York City Mayor-elect socialist Zohran Mamdani in September refusing to condemn the radical terrorist group Hamas. Well, now the Anti-Defamation League releasing a report saying that a shocking 20% of Mamdani's transition team has ties to anti-Zionist groups. So joining us now is New York Republican Assemblyman Jake Blumencranz. So what does that mean then if you are Jewish and live in New York City?
Ed, thank you so much for having me on. I think it means one thing. The company you keep, if you look at the people he's appointing and the people that he hopes to surround himself with, the message he had there on the show previously, he has no interest in protecting Jewish New Yorkers. And it's loud and clear through his agenda. It's loud and clear through looking through the words he's saying and the actual meaning of what he's saying. And it's important that we stand up against such an agenda.
Yeah. So the ADL pointing out that several activists involved in the anti-Israel encampments on New York City college campuses, as well as supporting Hamas after October 7th, have been hired into Mamdani's circle here. So the report found 80 of the 400 people named to his staff and 17 transition committees, quote, have a history of supporting notorious anti-Semitic figures, openly supporting Hamas and its September 7th attack, celebrating calls for violence against Jews, downplaying the threat of anti-Semitism, and more. I mean, how is he the mayor? Like, how does this happen? What do you do?
It's not just how is he the mayor, but how is he able to appoint such radical people? It's almost like it's a litmus test. Do you hate not only the state of Israel, but Jewish communities that you hope to serve in order to be a part of his administration? If you look at the individual who just resigned because they found tweets of her talking about a train line being the Jew line, or she talked about working with money-hungry Jews, that was the woman who is going to insert individuals into the entire administration operating the city. What that means for us, not only as Jewish New Yorkers, but as those who don't believe that discrimination disguised as activism is not only is not right, and it's not right that individuals like Zohran allows for his team to have these views. I'm calling on a state level for some level of oversight, because right now all we have is the city council, the only group of people more radical than Zohran in New York state and city government. We need to see oversight with groups like the ADL being able to call out Zohran and his people when they do say these types of things, and that we vet these people properly if they're going to run our city and use our taxpayer dollars for agenda instead of actual policy.
Yeah, Jake, we'll follow up on that. Mamdani is set to take office in less than 6 days. So not only New Yorkers, but many economists across the country are concerned about his far-left agenda. Now, I've heard in some circles, Republicans want to let his policies play out and see the effects on the city. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, two things that are very important about that, why we can't let it play out. One is he has the power of nominating the chancellor and the committee that runs the CUNY school system. He effectively has the ability to set the agenda for our schools, rewriting history literally for our children, for more than just his term, but for the children as they grow up. I think it's important that we do not allow that type of thing to happen, and there needs to be oversight. We need to fight back. On top of that, we need to look at the people who are going to be in his counsel's office, because he's going to look at pushing at those legal limits as to what he can and cannot do. We need to point out where his administration is dead wrong.
Right, Jake, I want to get to this in about 30 seconds that we have left. How do you have that oversight? What does that look like?
Well, we have mechanisms on a state level. I know the governor has pushed back, and I am pushing back twice as hard as she is through legislation. We need to work together with moderate Democrats, and if they do not speak up, then they are complicit in the problem here, which is that we need to say that his administration, the people he's surrounding himself, should not be allowed anywhere near our taxpayer dollars, especially if they're going to use it to redline Jewish communities, fight back against agendas that help support all New Yorkers.
Thank you very much, Jake Blumencranz from New York State Assemblyman. I appreciate it.